The following is a presentation of Pod Media Works.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Totally Rad Movie Podcast, where we sit around, talk about the movies from the 80s and 90s that brought us great joy and that we need to bring again, and that Larry probably actually hasn't seen. I'm Scott.
Hey, it's Larry.
And this week we have I'm going to say a special episode, because I used to watch this movie a lot. I say that, I think, every time. So I think it loses a little bit of its special nature. But we have a great, awful movie for you guys this year, which is Mom and Dad Save the World from 1992. So I think if I'm doing my math right, I'm about 7 or 8 there when this movie came out. So, yeah. Oldie, but not a goodie. But let's go into it. So, Larry, I know for a fact you have not seen this movie before.
No, I honestly didn't even know that it existed until recently. So, right, I don't remember a poster for it. I don't remember a trailer. I don't remember anything about this movie. I don't remember seeing it at Blockbuster, like on the shelf.
Oh, it was at Blockbuster.
Oh,
I got as part of some of the movie knowledge I'll be dropping on you. I know how much, I got some stats for this movie that we'll need to share, and I went and looked and confirmed some of these. But so time for one of my favorite parts, because you'd only seen it once recently, right? Probably today. As I rewatched it for the first time, and probably since 1992. So didn't remember a whole lot of it. So, Larry, I'm putting you on the spot here. It is your turn to tell us the story of Mom and Dad Save the World.
Okay, so, wow. So Mom and Dad Save the World, right? It is about a mom and dad who saved the world. But anyway, so, right, the mom and dad are from Earth, obviously. They are going on a getaway vacation, right? They're leaving the kids behind, going to, I think it was Santa Barbara, California. Getting away for the weekend, and as they're doing so, right, they basically get abducted by these aliens. But these aliens are from this planet full of idiots, and Emperor Todd Spangler, he's going to blow up Earth.
Spago.
Oh, where did Spangler come from?
I have no idea.
Emperor Todd. I was watching a different movie. Todd Spago. He's going to blow up the Earth for some reason. But as he's spying on us, right, and looking to see what Earth has to offer, Todd Spango, he sees Marge, the mom of this family, and decides that she is the most beautiful thing in the universe, and he has to have her. So as they are going away on their getaway, right, like I said, they get abducted, go up to this planet, and then just kind of chaos ensues. I think the main thing you need to know about this planet is they say it over and over and over again. It's a planet of idiots. So kind of the bad guys aren't very smart. They don't have their stuff together. They basically are just morons the entire time, do dumb stuff.
Very easily tricked, we'll say.
Yeah, right. Very easily tricked. So the Emperor, Todd Spango, wants to marry Marge. Her husband, Dick, is there, and right, he basically gets locked up, goes on his whole crazy adventure in order to get back and save Marge, and then in turn save the planet by stopping the death ray that the Emperor has that he wants to use to blow up Earth. That's basically it.
So the entire movie centers around a planet with a inferiority complex, right? The only other planet they know that has life on it is Earth, and it's much bigger than Planet Spango, which he named Todd, named after himself. And that's why he wants to blow it. His whole idea for blowing it up is it's just he wants to be the biggest and the best planet with life on it. Right? So it's basically a tiny wiener joke. right? Like a whole, like you're overcompensating. Like the entire movie was written around a penis joke, which I thought works, I guess. For it.
Like I guess for 1992.
You know what I thought this is? This was their attempt at a live action Marvin the Martian, but they couldn't get the rights to it. So they're like, you know what? Let's just roll with, you know who we could get on board? Terry Garr and Jeffrey Jones. You know,
Who's Jeffrey Jones?
Jeffrey Jones is
he's the dad in this.
He's the dad in this. He plays the principal on Ferris Bueller.
Oh yeah.
He's the bad guy that gets taken over by aliens and Howard the Duck.
I think Ferris Bueller is where I remember.
Everyone knows Jeffrey Jones from Ferris Bueller.
How did he get to be like the star of this movie?
I have no idea.
He's not really. No offense. He's not exactly leading man material, but somehow he got cast as the hero in Mom and Dad Save the World.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's the dad from Beetlejuice too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
yeah. Beetlejuice, another movie we've watched on the Totally Rad Movie Podcast. Did you see that those twins? Those twins from the Gremlins, who are like scientists in the lab, they are also in this movie as well. We just watched Gremlins too.
Yes, there's always that weird like degrees of Kevin Bacon that we kind of find in this one. I think this one is one movie almost always inadvertently relates back to one of the other ones.
It's not we watched Top Gun with Tom Cruise. It's, and then Tom Cruise is the next one. It's the random guy, like kitchen staff member number 3. Like, he's in this next movie.
And
it's always super random. You never even realize. So this one had those weird twins guys. They showed up again.
Twins who've been in like 8 movies. And we happen to pick 2 out of their 8.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So
back to back.
So yeah,
big fans.
So we got to discuss this movie. And okay, I'm just gonna start with it. It's not good. It is not good. So let's drop a couple bits of trivia here. So this movie sat on the shelf for a couple years before it was ever released, right? It was filmed in 1990, released in 1992. So they knew they had a stinker on board, right? They waited for it. Here's the most random trivia thing. This is the movie that got John Lovitz, who plays Todd Spango, the main bad guy, off of SNL. The shooting schedule for this was set for, I think, the summer, but then it ended up getting pushed back and would have overlapped with that season of SNL when it started by like 2 or 3 weeks. And Lorne Michaels, right, the guy from SNL, was like, "You're not doing both. Like, you can't overlap or whatever. Pick one." And John Lovitz picked the movie over SNL, and so the movie that basically got him off of SNL is this movie, Mom and Dad Save the World.
Wow, I don't know if that was a good career decision.
It was not. It was in theaters.
Okay.
But it was a complete bomb, like critically just panned.
So that's why I never even heard, right? I was a kid in 1982. I didn't even know this existed.
When it opened, it was only opened in 904 theaters and grossed less than $1 million, $980,000.
Ouch.
The following weekend, that dropped by 70%. So they got a rough gross of about $2 million and pulled the movie from theaters, went straight to video, right?
Yeah.
Made on a budget of $14 million. So they lost a lot of money on this movie. Like this is one of, I think, the biggest. It's a toss up for biggest bomb between this and Theodore Rex that we've talked about.
Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of Theodore Rex. Sure. Like it's a bit ridiculous.
It was.
I think. What do you think the budget was though? Because one of the things I noticed is there was a lot of like practical effects. Like they built a lot of very elaborate sets that were not really good quality, even for 1992. They looked like they took a lot of time and were probably really expensive to create. There's like a death car and like a Trojan horse, of Spango. Like there's a lot of like things that they built for this that probably cost a ton of money. Like, that was the one thing that really stood out to me is I'm like I don't know, like the sets and stuff were pretty cool. It's got a Star Wars-y kind of feel to it. at times, but like low budget Star Wars.
Yeah. It kind of was, right? Certain things, like you could tell that like the guns were made of rubber foam because they would move and they would like the barrels would like bounce. At one scene, Earth Dick, right, played by Jeffrey Jones, is
Earth Dick.
Earth Dick is he goes into jail and he's supposed to shake the jail cell, and you could tell that I think it's just made out of like painted foam because it's like he's like bending the bars when he's shaking it. Like it was
that's a really good example. Like I said, somebody took the time to make this stuff, but they didn't spend money to do like metal bars.
Yeah. So
arts and crafts, paper mache,
a lot of paper mache and some other stuff was used in here. So let's talk about it, because you bring up the fact that everyone on the planet is dumb.
Yes.
Which I think is the crux of the movie that lets this go, right? It's an average mom, average dad. How are they going to save the world? Well, everyone they encounter is an absolute moron.
Yep.
Right? Like,
and they mentioned that at least 5 or 6 times.
5 or 6 times. And they highlight a couple of things. Like the enemy, the rebels that are the good guys dress as birds, right? Because they're like, we're going to put on these bird helmets so that the enemies think that we're just birds and we're not people. And then Jeffrey Jones, Earth Dick, asked the question, do you have birds that size on your planet? And they're like, no. And he's like, then why would they think you're a bird?
Yeah. So they all took off the bird head.
Yeah.
Bird heads.
By speaking pig Latin. He tells them in pig Latin.
Oh, is that what it was? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. He thinks that he's being sneaky.
Yeah.
It's just lots of very dumb things. Like,
well, the bird heads come up after we're introduced to 2 species, like the fish face people, and the bulldogs.
The bulldog people,
random, like kind of again a little Star Warsy, like right, like you're making aliens out of like recognizable things, but like the fish face people were the girls and the bulldogs were the boys, and at least one bulldog married a fish face
and had a fish and bulldog child.
Yes, because we see the family picture.
Yep.
Like that was weird. And the masks, specifically for the fish ones, were really like rubbery and weird looking. But they don't speak English.
The dog ones were really creepy because you could see the actor's eyes, but then like in there, like they built it so that they could see their actual eyes. It wasn't like fake ones.
Yeah.
But then like it had a protruding bulldog animatronic mouth. Oh, like so.
It was weird.
Everything about the movie was it's just cheesy. Like
those are the only aliens you get, really. Well, there's the mushroom people that are like in the garbage chute.
Yeah,
because that reminded me again of Star Wars when Dick and then later Spango at the end ends up going through this like garbage chute to get into this like swampy kind of area, very similar to the garbage compactor in A New Hope.
Yeah, there's a lot of knockoff things on here. Manny says cheesy good, just cheesy. It's not cheesy good. It's not really bad. I very much enjoy this movie. Like the main character Dick is kind of annoying because he always is bitching about his back, and like
his hair changes. He's bald and he has a variety of wigs and facial hair, and it's that goofy but not kind of supposed to be funny but not really funny.
Yeah. There's a lot of really, really weird stuff. And some of the things are like some of the lines don't make sense in it. Like at one point, Spango is right in front of the mirror and he has this big paunch belly out, right? Fatty. And he's like, fatty or whatever. And you're like, what was that entire scene about?
And then he does push-ups.
He does 2. Right?
Yeah. And the guy walks in and he's like, close your eyes. And he's like, 50.
Yeah. Gets to 50.
What?
So it's just it was not good. No. I'm just saying, like, I don't recommend this one. Like, I do okay, scratch this. I say this is a movie that I recommend because it's if you said name a movie that is completely 1992,
yeah,
this one kind of fits that bill. But I don't go into it thinking you're going to get anything good out of it. So let's go in. I want to do our kind of shtick here. So let's get into the moments that we really liked and that we really don't. We call them the totally rad and the totally bogus moment. Let's start with the totally rad, because I at least have a totally rad for the movie. Okay. So let's do that.
Like totally rad.
Larry, what is your totally rad movie?
Okay, so it sounds like you struggled with this a little bit too. I struggled with both a totally rad and totally bogus moment. But for my totally rad moment, I kind of just talked about it a little bit. There's a scene where Spango is getting ready, I think, for the wedding. And he asked the twins, who I talked about before too, if he should go with mutton chop sideburns or a goatee. And they has them pick. They pick wrong, so he has them shoot himself in the head. And then the next twin picks the mutton chops again and picks wrong and shoots himself in the head.
Very enthusiastically. He's right.
Yeah.
Right.
He hesitates for a second. He's like, mutton chops.
Yes. Right.
Like, even though my brother just did it and had to shoot himself in the head.
Yeah. But if you see later in the movie, he is wearing the mutton chops.
Yeah, he was.
Like, so he does put them on.
I actually wrote it down when I was watching it earlier today too. Right. So he after he has them both shoot themselves in the head, he kind of looks at the mutton chops again. He's like, they have a good point. So he clearly liked the mutton chops. Like it was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was one of the best
few kind of funny
few moments. So I will say this: Jon Lovitz does make this movie. It would not be without him, his comedic style or whatever, as Emperor Spango. It would never. I don't know another actor that could have fit in that to be right.
Probably not.
Like that definitely is.
So sidetrack.
Jon Lovitz movie.
Side tangent, real quick. What you mentioned SNL for Jon Lovitz. What do you know Jon Lovitz from most? Like when you think of Jon Lovitz, what like series or movie or whatever comes to mind?
So to be fair, for me, it's The Wedding Singer.
Oh, Wedding Singer. Okay,
it's The Wedding Singer when he's like, he's losing his mind and I'm reaping all the benefits outside of SNL, right?
Yeah,
It was The Wedding Singer is my go-to Jon Lovitz movie.
I thought because I looked him up on IMDb, while I was watching this, and I thought he would have starred in more things than he really didn't. Ed got mine. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Because Manny commented before I could click on it. So Ed says he thinks of The Critic. Yeah, that's what I think of too. Possibly because there was that Simpsons crossover episode where The Critic showed up on The Simpsons for that film festival. And he also voiced several characters on The Simpsons, including Artie Ziff and the guy who does the Streetcar musical with Marge and stuff too, which is a really good episode. So yeah, it's kind of the two cartoons is where I go. But I thought there was like another movie or something that I knew him from, like as a starring role, but not really. This is kind of as good as it gets.
He's in a bunch of movies, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Three Amigos. Like he's in quite a few movies, TV shows,
but like side characters.
He's never really a leading person. I think wasn't he in Rat Race, one of the racers in that movie? So kind of a big.
Oh yeah, he was in Rat Race too. But that was a huge cast.
That was a huge cast, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's mostly a lot of TV. Like I think he was much more of a.
He was in news radio too, right? Didn't he replace Phil Hartman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I guess that's another pretty big one. But to me, that was like I wasn't watching news radio by the time he was on.
Yeah.
But whatever. Anyway, so
all right. So sidetrack.
What is your totally red moment?
It's the light grenade.
Interesting.
All right. There's a scene where they have a thing. It's called the light grenade, and it's basically you pull the pin on this grenade, you set it down, and anybody who picks it up is instantly vaporized. And the character Dick looks at it and says, like, why would anyone fall for this then, right? Like, this is ridiculous. No one would do it. And the character points out that on one side of the grenade, it says, pick me up. And it's like, oh, it's devious or whatever. And so you don't think it's going to work, but he makes a fake body, right, in a sleeping bag to trick these soldiers and uses that for the head. And one guy, he's like, oh, his head's a light grenade. It picks it up and gets vaporized. The next guy is like, everyone be careful. There's a light grenade down here. And they're like, where? And he picks it up to show them and gets vaporized. And then
it happens like 20 times.
And then it comes back and it shows all these people going, pick me up. And they all pick up this thing and zap. And one guy, the last guy at the end, calls in. He's like, we're going to need reinforcements. And like, for whatever reason, it makes me chuckle every time. The light grenade scene does get me to chuckle just because it's the utterly ridiculousness of just a single sentence on this grenade kills
and when
20 people.
Remember when Dick places it on like the beds, right? It's the spot that he chooses to try to trick them. He's like, we'll see how big of idiots these guys actually are. And he was right.
Right.
It worked. Like, he killed 20 people.
Yeah, with a single grenade. So, all right. So those were the totally rad movies. I'm pretty sure those are the only totally rad. It was rough.
I mean, like the dog people were kind of cool, and the fish people were kind of cool, but they didn't really do anything. Like,
no, they just kind of wobbled around.
Yeah, they're just there.
So, all right. So we have the good stuff. Let's go to the bad.
Ugh, totally bogus.
And for the sake of this one, because I could, if we had this in the rules, the whole movie would be the totally bogus moment. But we've stricken that as a possibility for the rules. So I need you to come up with a specific scene that you think is the totally bogus moment.
I got something for you. Something that's never happened before, because your totally rad moment is my totally bogus moment. I wrote down the light grenades as my totally bogus moment just because it's just so stupid and it's so prolonged because they like there's 20 people in that crowd and they show like 5 or 6 of them dying. Like it dragged on just a little bit too long for me. Like I get the joke, I get how dumb they are, I get that they're vaporized. You could have accomplished the same thing showing like 2 people vaporized and then the pile of bodies. So that one got my
and the guy calling for reinforcements.
That would have been fine.
It could have been made a little bit better.
Yeah, trimmed it up a little bit, but whatever.
Again, it amplifies the ridiculousness of the movie.
Yeah.
now here's where I really struggled on this one. The beginning when they get abducted, I think, is the thing that gets me the first time. Only because the car starts shaking, and of course Dick is first mad about going to a mechanic versus taking it to the dealer, and he's like, "Oh, the car, or whatever."
Yeah,
and
then he talks about the shocks a couple times.
So all it is they use like a magnet to specifically grab this car and drag it out of the universe. So it's a car just floating in space. So like, I don't think that's how it works. Then when he hits the magnet, he's like, "Oh, that's going to ruin the front end." Like, you're not really that concerned about the fact that they're getting abducted through space. No. Like that does, like he's more concerned with the damage that's done to the front end of his vehicle. And
that's a good one. Well, just that whole scene too, because they're flying through space in their station wagon.
In the station wagon.
Because that's practical, right? Like no enclosure. It's just a normal, 1990 station wagon.
And the wife, right, is going through, and Marge is just taking photos with her camera because she's a photophile, right? She's taking photos of everything. She's like, "I'm going to take a picture with you by Saturn."
Yep.
And it's like
she was
sitting in your car.
If this was in 2021, right, she'd be all about Instagram and
and selfies. Yeah. But it's that thing of like it's just such a ridiculous way. Like there's just a big magnet that pulls them in, and then how do they fix it at the end? They reverse the magnet and it shoots them right back to where they landed from. It's just rewatching. I was like, why would anybody think that? Like,
why would anybody want Marge as like the most beautiful woman in the world? Because you know who else is on that planet? Kathy Ireland.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that. So Spango chooses Marge over Kathy Ireland.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I don't even know what she was doing in this movie. She's one of the cast-offs, right? That went with the brother. Was she might have even been the sister.
She's the original king's daughter, right? Yeah. Which is also in love with the Wallace Shawn, who is famous for the Princess Bride fame.
Oh, right? That's right. I think of the blackjack dealer from Vegas Vacation. But you're right.
Yes,
he was in Princess Bride.
Yeah, he's Vizzini in the one, the guy that's like, I poison, like the whole poison cup guy. Yeah. Kathy Ireland is in love with him.
Yeah, that was
in this whole thing. So yeah, it is quite ridiculous. But yeah, I don't like this movie. I thought this one would actually be better than it was. It makes sense why it only made $2 million though.
Yeah, and then nobody saw it.
No.
You know what I was surprised about? Like from the poster, from like seeing the title, right, and clicking on it on HBO Max because it is available for free on HBO Max. I thought this was going to be like a family movie. Like the whole family went to space, and the kids helped save the world. But no, the kids aren't even part of this movie. And the kids are. We talked about this briefly before we started. The kids were like semi-popular stars too, right? The kid from Salute Your Shorts was one of the kids.
Danny Cooksey. So from
the redhead.
Played, Bobby from Salute Your Shorts. Also, if you don't watch that movie, John's best friend in Terminator T2, right, is the kid that plays the son in this one. Around the same time, I think these came out because wasn't Terminator 2 like 1991, 93, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
So this would have been, it was filmed a few years before Terminator. So that kid, you have you'd brought this one, Michael Stoyanov. I had to look him up as Carl, the boyfriend of their daughter, who was the kid from Blossom.
He's the other brother from Blossom. So I'm like, I recognized him too. Like, I haven't thought about Blossom in a very long time, right? Yeah. We know that, right? Blossom had Joey Lawrence as a brother, but the other brother was that guy.
Well, this guy, and he plays the boyfriend who's in the beginning scene, right? And that's
and the end scene, and that's it. Like, he's got a couple lines, and I really thought that like it was going to be more of a family kind of thing, not just mom and dad literally leave the planet, because the kids don't even really know that mom and dad saved the world. They get to see the slides when they come back of dad doing the Instagram picture with Saturn and meeting up with the dog people, but I don't think they understood it or got it. So
yeah, exactly. So
it was a weird premise.
It's tough. So all right, so let's get into ratings.
Oh, this is going to be
out of 5. Out of 5.
5 being the best.
5 being the best. 1 being the worst. Can't go below 1. I think we gave a half at one point, so I'll still accept that. But can't go. We're not going below. We're not going into more fractions than that. I give this movie a 1. What do you say, Larry?
Yeah, easy 1. It was pretty bad. I know it wasn't
better than Theodore Rex, but not by much.
Slightly better than Theodore Rex, but yeah, it's right there with it, man. I could even make a case for Theodore Rex being better because
I'm still
at least it had Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. I'm still saying that one's the worst that we've seen so far, but this is definitely coming in as a very, very strong second place contender for worst movie.
Yeah, and it definitely doesn't hold up, but I don't think it was even good. Like, it clearly wasn't good in the 90s either. So there's
no cult following for this movie. It's just seen as bad. I picked that one because I saw it on HBO Max. I was like, I remember that movie. We're gonna watch it, and I forgot how bad it was.
It's pretty bad, dude. Thanks for taking the hour and a half of my life that I'll never get back. So I know we talked about what we were going to watch next, but I don't remember.
Do you
remember?
I sadly do not. I know that I believe it was something on HBO Max that we were going to bring Jeremy on for. So next time we might have a guest. We'll coordinate. We'll just keep watch of Twitter when we figure out what next movie's up. We'll let you know. I'm coming at you probably either on a Wednesday or Sunday, as it's been kind of the tradition, depending on what our schedule's like.
Yeah, Manny asked. Or Thursday. Actually, we usually do Thursdays or Sunday. Just happened to do Wednesday this week. There's no rules.
We had to push today because I getting my Covey poke, and I'm like, I don't want to be on air the day I get my.
You're probably not going to feel 100% tomorrow or the next day. So it's all good.
Yeah,
right. There's no rules for the Totally Rad Movie Podcast. The only rule is that it's not dead yet.
It's not dead yet. So Larry, I think it's time to do your thing.
Yeah. So, like Scott said, if you want to know what we're going to talk about next, you should follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Totally Rad Pod. It's a good follow. Follow the STS guys too, because if you didn't know, Scott and I have the main show. It's going to be a really good episode this Saturday, live on Twitch, 8 p.m. Pacific. We got a huge announcement. I should probably tune in to find out what that's going to be. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we will probably be back in a week or two, maybe. There's no rules. We do what we want.
We're winging it here.
It's the Totally Rad Movie Podcast is the ultimate winging it thing. Like I said, it's not dead yet. We're still going, man. We'll be back in a week or two.
So that works, and we'll take some more movie suggestions once we run out. I have a few.
I know we had a good one. We just got to go back
and I got a couple in my pocket that I found on HBO that we can throw on there, and we can stick with the aliens theme. Earth Girls Are Easy is on that list. I know, Larry, you haven't seen that one.
I haven't. No.
So we'll talk. Yeah. So with that. For this week's episode of the Totally Rad Movie Podcast, I am Scott.
Hey, it's Larry.
And everybody, have a good night. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Bye.
Okay, bye.